Find out how to start BARF natural dog food, even if you've never tried it before. 3 simple, safe, and practical steps to transform your pet's health with real food. No mysteries, no fear, and no mistake. In recent years, a silent transformation has been taking place in the kitchens of thousands of tutors. Colorful bowls full of life have begun to replace the old dry food. The movement has a name, BARF. It stands for Biologically Appropriate Raw Food, or in Portuguese, Biologically Appropriate Natural Food. Despite the technical name, the essence is simple. Offer the dog or cat what nature designed for them to eat. Real food. And the best news? You don't have to be a veterinarian chef or specialist to get started. 3 well-applied steps are enough to make the transition in a safe, balanced, and, above all, transformative way for your pet's health. Before diving into the details, it's worth a brief pause to understand why natural food has gained so much space. For decades, industrial feed dominated the market with promises of practicality and complete nutrition. But behind the crunchiness of the balls, there are preservatives, excess carbohydrates, and processed proteins that, over time, overload the pet's bodies. Dogs and cats are carnivores by nature. Their bodies were shaped to digest raw flesh, bones, and organs. When we replace this with an ultra-processed food, it's as if we're asking their bodies to run on the wrong fuel. This is where chronic problems begin. Allergies, itching, hair loss, bad breath, bulky stools, and, in many cases, obesity and kidney disease. The good news is that changing this reality does not require prior experience. With 3 simple steps, any tutor can start the transition safely. And the first of them is understanding the basis of the BARF diet. Step 1 is to understand what makes up the ideal dish. The BARF feed is assembled with 5 basic pillars. Raw muscle meats, which provide protein and energy. Raw and fleshy bones, which guarantee calcium and mineral balance. Organs, such as the liver and heart, which are very rich sources of vitamins and iron. Vegetables and fruits, which come in small amounts, offering fiber and antioxidants. Natural supplements, such as omega-3 rich oils, seaweed, and probiotics, complete the nutritional profile. The secret is in the proportion. On average, 70% of the dish should come from meats, 10% from bones, 10% from organs, and the remaining 10% from vegetables and supplements. It is a formula that mimics the natural diet of a carnivore in nature, but adapted to the home environment. The transition begins with the look. The tutor needs to perceive food as part of daily care, not as an experiment. Each raw piece placed in the bowl represents more vitality, more energy, and fewer vet visits in the long run. Therefore, before you take the knife and start cutting meat, it is essential to understand the reason for each ingredient. Many beginner tutors make the mistake of wanting to improvise, adding rice, spices, leftovers, or cooked meats. But BARF is science. Spices alter the pH of the stomach, grains overload the liver, and cooked meats harden bones, making them dangerous. The first rule is simple. Natural does not mean anything raw, but rather a planned and balanced combination. When the tutor understands this principle, everything changes. The fear of raw disappears, and the focus becomes the real well-being of the animal. It is common that after a few days of gradual introduction, the pet shows visible signs of improvement. The fur becomes shinier, the breath improves, the stool decreases, and the behavior becomes more active. It is as if the body finally breathes relief. That first step, understanding, is the foundation of everything. Without it, the tutor tends to err on the side of proportions, overdo the fruits, forget the organs, or avoid the bones out of fear. But with it, every decision becomes purposeful. And when there is purpose, there is result. With a solid understanding of what the BARF diet is, comes the most exciting moment, and the one that scares beginners the most, putting together the first meal. Many tutors get stuck in this phase, afraid of making mistakes in the quantity, hygiene, or choice of food. But the secret is not in perfection, but in consistency. Step 2 is to start with what you have, safely and gradually. The best way to overcome fear is to plan the first course as if putting together a story. Imagine the bowl as the stage and the ingredients as the main characters. The star is raw muscle meat. Chicken breast, beef muscle, turkey or rabbit are excellent starting points. Choose fresh meats, without seasonings, without salt, and without cooked bones. Cut into pieces suitable for the size of the animal. Larger for large dogs, smaller for cats and small dogs. Then come raw, fleshy bones, the foundation of natural calcium. These can be chicken necks, wings, ribs, or raw beef knees. They not only nourish, but also exercise chewing, clean teeth, and strengthen jaw and gums. Important? Bones should never be cooked, as heat makes them brittle and dangerous. Then come the organs, the superfood of the natural diet. Liver, heart, gizzards, kidney. Small amounts are enough, but they are indispensable. The liver, for example, is the natural multivitamin of animals, rich in iron, zinc, and B vitamins. Next, the color of the plate comes in. Fresh vegetables and fruits. The key is to choose safe varieties, such as carrots, zucchini, pumpkin, apples, and pears, all raw, well washed, and crushed. They bring fiber, antioxidants, and natural phytochemicals that help the body eliminate toxins. Finally, the final touch, natural supplements. A teaspoon of fish oil or krill oil adds omega-3 and omega-6 essentials for skin and coat. A little kelp powder provides iodine, while probiotics balance the gut flora. When everything is combined, the result is a lively, nutritious, and visually vibrant meal. The aroma is natural, without preservatives, and the animal notices this immediately. Many dogs, even accustomed to the food, show curiosity, smell, lick, and soon begin to eat with enthusiasm. But it is essential to respect the pace of the transition. Starting abruptly can cause digestive discomfort, gas, and mild diarrhea. So the golden rule is to go slowly. In the first 3 days, replace only 25% of the food with BARF. From the 4th to the 6th day, increase to 50%, and from the 2nd week onwards, work your way up to 100%. This gradual process allows the animal's body to adapt to the new levels of digestive enzymes. During the transition, observe the behavior in stool. Smaller, firm, and milder smelling stools are a sign of success. If the animal is uncomfortable, go back a step and follow its natural rhythm. BARF is not competition, it is a journey of biological adaptation. The hygiene routine is also essential. Always wash your hands, bowls, and used utensils thoroughly. Use exclusive boards for meat preparation and store raw food in closed, refrigerated, or frozen containers. Avoid leaving food out of the refrigerator for long periods. Food safety is a fundamental part of the process, especially when working with raw foods. Over the first 15 days, something magical happens. The tutor begins to notice changes not only in the body, but also in the pet's behavior. Anxious dogs are calmer. Apathetic cats return to play. There's a different energy, as if the body is being unlocked. The sparkle in her eyes and the willingness to play speak louder than any nutritional chart. And when confidence increases, the tutor realizes that the second step was just the beginning of a new routine. The transition is no longer a challenge, but a pleasure. Now it's time to consolidate. Adjust quantities, understand individual needs, and make sure your pet is getting everything it needs element. This is where step 3, diet refinement and ongoing care, comes in. The third step is what turns the BARF routine into a solid and lasting habit, learning to adjust and maintain nutritional balance. After the initial excitement and the first colorful bowls, it's time to understand that natural food is a living journey. It changes according to time, age, and the animal's needs. Step 3 is smart maintenance. At this stage, the tutor stops following plastered recipes and begins to understand the animal itself, the rhythm, appetite, preferences, and even the subtle signals of the body. The real success of the BARF diet lies in observing and adjusting. The first rule is to calculate the correct amount of daily food. As a starting point, healthy adult dogs usually eat between 2.5% to 3% of their body weight per day, divided into 1 or 2 meals. Cats, on the other hand, because they have a faster metabolism, usually consume 3 to 4% of their weight. But these numbers are not absolute. Each pet is unique. More active animals, such as racing dogs or cats that live outdoors, may need a little more. The most sedentary require moderation. The second rule is to rotate the ingredients. The secret of nutrition lies in variety. Alternating between different protein sources, chicken, beef, lamb, fish, and different vegetables, avoids nutritional deficiencies and keeps the animal's taste buds stimulated. This also reduces the chance of food intolerances, common in pets that consume the same food for years. Another crucial point is natural supplementation. Even if the BARF diet is complete, certain nutrients may need reinforcement, especially in puppies, pregnant females, or the elderly. Some safe and effective examples include fish oil or krill for skin, fur, and immune system, nutritional yeast, rich in B vitamins, raw egg, which offers high-quality protein and biotin, eggshell powder, a natural alternative to calcium from bones, probiotics and prebiotics, which balance the intestinal flora and strengthen the digestive system. The attentive tutor soon realizes the power of these adjustments. In a few weeks, the animal's body begins to reflect what happens inside. The fur thickens, the teeth cleaner, the breath almost disappears, and daily vitality increases. Many veterinarians report that BARF pets have fewer skin problems, less tartar, and a much stronger immune system. But perhaps the greatest benefit is not only in nutrition, but in the bond that is created. Preparing food with your own hands is an act of genuine care. The tutor observes the animal eating with pleasure, understands what he likes, notices changes, and becomes an active part of his health. It is an emotional and biological bond. However, like every journey, there are obstacles. It is common for beginner tutors to face doubts and fears. Am I doing it right? What if he gets sick? Does he really need a supplement? The answer lies in observation and the search for information. The BARF diet is flexible, but it requires accountability. Consulting a veterinarian can be an excellent way to confirm that balance is being maintained. Another frequent challenge is storage. Many people believe that preparing natural food takes work, but in practice, it is a matter of routine. The ideal is to plan the week's portions and freeze them in individual jars. Each meal takes minutes to thaw, and the time spent is rewarded with health and longevity. There is also the myth that BARF is expensive. But when you compare the cost of premium feed and veterinary expenses due to poor nutrition, the calculation changes completely. In the long run, the natural diet is more economical because it prevents diseases, allergies, and emergency consultations. Smart maintenance is therefore the turning point. This is where the tutor stops being just someone who feeds and becomes a guardian of health, a guardian who understands the body, respects instinct, and sees nutrition as love in the form of food. And it is in this balance between knowledge, practice, and sensitivity that the journey is completed. But before closing, there is still the final step missing, the most important of all, constancy. Because it is not enough to start, it is necessary to sustain care every day. Constancy. This is the word that separates the transient results from the permanent transformations. In the BARF universe, constancy means understanding that natural food is not a fad. It is a return to the origin, a daily commitment to the life of the animal. The fourth and final step is not technical, but emotional. It is the commitment to maintain care, observe the body, and adjust whenever necessary. Over time, the tutor realizes that feeding naturally becomes as automatic as filling the water fountain. The kitchen now has a corner reserved for bowls, frozen portions, and colored jars with Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday labels. The sound of meat being cut and vegetables crushed no longer causes strangeness but satisfaction. Every meal is a small celebration of health and affection. The most powerful result is not immediate, it is cumulative. Animals living with BARF from a young age often have stronger bones, fewer inflammatory diseases, and noticeably longer longevity. Dogs that used to sleep all day are playing again. Cats that rejected industrial food start to meow with anxiety when they see their tutor preparing their food. It is nature manifesting itself again inside the house. Constancy also involves listening. The attentive tutor knows how to interpret signs. Sudden itching, change in appetite, changes in stool or mood can indicate necessary adjustments in the proportion of ingredients. At these times, the knowledge accumulated in the first 3 steps becomes the guide. Observe, understand, adapt. The power of the BARF diet lies precisely in this flexibility. Unlike industrial feed, which is always the same, natural food can be molded to the seasons, climate, age, and even temperament. On hot days, watery vegetables such as cucumber and zucchini bring lightness. In winter, fatter cuts offer energy and heat. This connection with the natural cycle creates a biological balance that no ready-made formula is able to replicate. And there is something deeper. The tutor who prepares his pet's food starts to look differently at the concept of nutrition itself. He understands that health is not just the absence of disease. It is energy, sparkle in the eye, disposition, and joy. And he realizes that the same principle works for himself. Food is no longer just sustenance and becomes a bond. Those who start at BARF with no experience but with will discover that the secret is not in knowing everything at the beginning, but in taking the first step responsibly. The information is available, the ingredients are accessible, and the results speak for themselves. Within a few weeks, the benefits are visible. In a few months, they become permanent. At the end of the journey, the tutor looks at the pet and understands the decision to change the diet was not just a nutritional choice, but a gesture of conscious love. The bowl became a symbol of care, respect, and life. BARF in 3 steps is not just a method, it is an invitation. An invitation to return to the origins, abandon the fear of the natural, and trust in the biological intelligence that has always guided dogs and cats. Every raw morsel carries the memory of nature, and every meal is a reminder that when we truly feed, the body responds with gratitude.